Welcome back, everybody. This is my second take. Holy. This is my second take of doing this podcast. I have no idea what's going on with the Chromebook, but it's been pretty buggy today. So if I stop this video, this might just be the end, but let's keep going through this. Now, as you can see from the title of the video, I am excited about Michigan basketball's future, and there are a lot of good things coming for Michigan basketball, but we're going to start with guys already on this team that have the potential to bring success to Michigan in the future. Starting with the man whose stats are displayed on the screen, Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson started the year red hot. I made a video about a month ago declaring that he was an All-American, and obviously that hasn't panned out so well since then. His stats have dropped off, his minutes have declined, and his shooting has gotten worse. But he's still a great player as a freshman to be averaging 15 and 8 in the Big Ten, the best conference in college basketball in most people's minds. And he will be an integral part of this future. He's going to be the best player on Michigan next year, no doubt about it, with the expectation that Isaiah Livers and Franz Wagner leave. Now, I don't know if Franz Wagner's leaving for sure. He's a top 30 pick in most mock drafts, so he's a first-round guy. And normally you don't mess with that if you're him. You'd go this year. But, yeah, we're not going to talk about those dudes because we're talking about the future, and those guys are the present. Don't think they'll be part of the future. But, yes, Hunter Dickinson, I'm calling it next year. He's an All-American next year. He's gone through a rough patch, but I expect him to bounce back no worse for wear. Sorry about that. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is actually Zeb Jackson, currently a backup point guard behind Mike Smith. Zeb Jackson he was like the 80th recruit in his class out of Montverde Academy in Florida, and he's not going to wow anyone with his play this year. I'm not going to lie. He's been a little disappointing, but he's sat behind a veteran in Mike Smith, and Zeb Jackson was a great high school player who I expect to probably start at point guard next year, and he's going to have to take the reins because that's the biggest question mark on Michigan's roster for next season. Point guard is the biggest question mark on Michigan's roster. Zeb Jackson's going to need to figure it out. He has potential. You can see it just by watching him play. He really has good touch. He has skill. He has shooting ability. He's 6'5", 180. So he's a tall guard, and he could be good. It hasn't happened this year, but there's been plenty of Michigan players that have had bad freshman seasons, such as Xavier Simpson, and have really excelled after that. Third player I'm going to talk about, Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams started this year as a rotational guy on Michigan. He brings the energy. He brings the hustle. He's not tall, but he plays tall. He's 6'7", 240, plays like he's 6'10". He gets a ton of rebounds. He doesn't have the best touch around the basket. He's from the D.C. area, like Hunter Dickinson. And I think Juwan Howard really likes this kid, Terrence Williams, who is for sure staying another year. I would expect him to stay his entire 4-year career at Michigan and become close to an All-Big Ten player by the time he's a senior. Now, I'm getting called at the moment by Brad, so I'm going to decline Brad. You know what? I'm going to pick this up. Sorry. All right. Just finished with Brad. Now, Terrence Williams, just to finish off with Terrence, is going to become an All-Big Ten player in my mind. He possesses intense grit already, and I'm sorry if you don't see that, but I really like this kid. I think he's going to turn into a guy to watch for Michigan in the future. Final player I'm going to talk about before turning to the recruits, Brandon Johns Jr. The junior I actually don't know where he's from, but he's been a 2-year contributor for Michigan. And he had a really rough start to this season. Really rough. He was playing not many minutes a game. Brad is ruining the show, Tim. Yeah, I know Brad is ruining the show, but my Wi-Fi is also ruining the show. So, Terrence Williams, Brandon Johns wasn't playing many minutes a game. And when Austin Davis went down, Brandon Johns filled in really nicely, and now he's getting good minutes. He's hitting corner threes, which has always been his specialty, and he's playing pretty well. Now, I think if he stays at Michigan, there was talk of him transferring because he was unhappy with his minutes earlier. But if he stays at Michigan, he's a starter next season, or at least a sixth man off the bench. I believe he will stay at Michigan, and I believe he will be a good player next season. Now let's turn to the recruits because my Wi-Fi is really screwing up and don't have that much time. So, Michigan is the number one recruiting class in the country. That is a fact, and that is exciting for Michigan fans across the country. Now, let's start talking about Caleb Houston, who is the stud small forward on Montverde Academy. Caleb Houston is tall at 6'8". He has good size, and he's a great shooter. I am sorry I can't have his highlights on the screen right now. Once again, I tried, but the Wi-Fi was bugging. So this is just Hunter Dickinson's screen. But Caleb Houston is so exciting to me. He's the number 7 overall recruit in the country. He's Canadian, and he played in U16 FIBA World Cup and played extremely well. He scores about 15 points a game on Montverde, shoots really well from three, and he plays extremely effortlessly. When I watch them play, Caleb Houston doesn't look like he's trying half the time. He has that vibe about him where he could just get buckets at will. And it's clearly he's a hardworking guy because to be able to be effortless like that, you got to be really talented, and talent comes from hard work. Caleb Houston's a hard worker. He's a great defensive player. He's going to be a starter next year at Michigan for sure, and he's probably going to be a one-and-done dude. But he will be really good next year. Mark my words. Potential freshman of the year in the Big Ten. Potential freshman of the year in the country. Just putting it out there. Now, Musa Diabate is the other freshman to watch next season out of IMG Academy. IMG has a ton of talent. Michigan has a lot of targets at IMG, but I'm only going to be talking about 2021 recruits. So I'm only going to be talking about Musa. Musa's tall. He's originally out of France. I said he was African last time. That was incorrect. He's not African, but he's out of France, Paris. His parents are African. He's a 5-star in the 2021 class. He's 6'10" with extreme length. I mean, this dude has the longest arms I've seen on a Michigan recruit in my entire life, and he's super athletic. He throws down dunks. He's really a reason. He's the main reason why IMG is number 2 in the country at the moment, or number 3 now. But Tim's going to ask about Isaiah Barnes. He's not a freshman that I'm going to be watching. I think maybe when he's a junior or senior, he gets minutes, but he's outside the top 80, and I think he'll, at best, get spot minutes next season. And I'm not trying to hate on him. He's a good player. I've seen him play personally. He doesn't fit the bill of a Big Ten caliber player. I don't think he'll fit that bill next season, although he's been working a lot. And when he's a junior and senior, I'm going to talk about guys later on. He's one of those guys to watch out for as a junior or senior. But going back to Musa Diabate, this dude's going to play immediately next year. He's a defensive force. Offensively, still needs some work. The jumper's not there, but he's a hard worker, and I think that he will be a main reason why Michigan is going to be a top 25 team next year. Those two guys, Houston, Diabate, obviously the 2 5-stars, you're going to talk about them. But let's move down the line. Frankie Collins, out of Coronado in Nevada. Frankie Collins is what I call the X factor of Michigan's recruiting class. Michigan always has these short point guards, and Frankie Collins is another one of these short point guards. You can go back down the line. Trey Burke, Derek Walton, Xavier Simpson. Now it's Mike Smith. Michigan loves their short point guards who do a lot of good things on offense, who can hit shots, hit threes, make great assists, and Frankie Collins looks like he's that type of guy. He's a top 50 recruit. There's been some talk of him being in the Under Armour or All-American game, McDonald's All-American game, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think as a top 50 guy, he's going to be a big contributor for Michigan down the line. He's not a one-and-done dude. He's not like Zay Barnes. He's not like I have Zay Barnes on my mind from Tim. He's not like Caleb Houston or Musa Diabate. But Frankie Collins will be an all Big Ten guy when he's a junior and senior. Looks a little like Carson Edwards, like his body type. I don't think he's quite that good, but I do think he'll be a really great player for Michigan. And just for Tim, part of the future is going to be Isaiah Barnes. Look, I watched this guy. I probably know about this guy more than any other player in this recruiting class because he was at my high school and I would watch him play all the time. He's a great shooter. He's athletic enough. He's 6'6", but I don't think he's going to be that great next year. Obviously, he's still a good player. He's a top 90 recruit in the country. He's a 4-star. Tim asks, who's going to win, Nova or Marquette? I hate to tell you, Tim, but I think Nova's going to win that one. Marquette's under 500 in the Big East. And that's a little off topic, but I will indulge Tim there. Now, going back to Isaiah Barnes and Will Cheddar, two guys who round out the class. Will Cheddar puts up monster buckets in Minnesota. He kind of fits the bill of the white guy who can shoot really well, shoot out of the gym. And he's not going to play next year. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But he might find a role down the line. He's only a 3-star, but he really has great scoring ability. And we've seen lower-ranked players do really well at Michigan. I'm thinking about Duncan Robinson. I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali, Abdur-Rahman. Some guys who don't get the recruiting numbers put up the numbers at Michigan. I think Juwan Howard can continue that trend that John Beilein set. Now, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you, Tim, for watching. I hope the Wi-Fi wasn't that bad. But, yeah, Michigan has a great future ahead of them. And Isaiah Barnes from OPRF, let's hope he gets some minutes. Peace.